What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. I hope that you are enjoying your morning, this day. You know, for people who follow this blog, they know this is the Imperfection channel. This is not some high production channel where I am just dolled up and ready to go. Probably you're going to see me at my crappiest most of the time I was on this channel because I am all about the information. All right. I really am all about the information. I think that, some people, they kind of hurt themselves trying to be glamorized while they're trying to be, centers of information, because then people get distracted sometimes. So for me, you're going to get me crappy and natural most of the times. Sometimes I'll wake up and do a blog, and so it is what it is. If you don't like that, then obviously go to the glamour channels. But last night, before I went to bed, I was commenting on the Kamala Harris for President rally. And obviously, the liberal media is doing everything that they can to target the Black people that they feel like they have lost with their policies, right? A lot of Black people are looking at politics in a different lens, a more educated lens. And at the end of the day, Black people care about their money. They don't care about, random stimuluses and stuff. They care about their long-term money and how it's going to be taxed. Everybody paid more taxes this year. I mean, I had people saying, yeah, I owe taxes. And I mean, what they are doing, how Democrats short squeeze the populations with their taxation, it's just ridiculous. And one thing that I will say, and I will reiterate every time, is I'm politically, socially neutral. So I'm looking at all of this stuff from an uncommitted lens, from an ideological side. I'm just looking at it very objectively, pragmatically. I don't have any loyalty to any side. But obviously with the Democrats, I don't mind getting into their behinds a little bit more because they're the ones who are constantly leveraging Black people to do a buck dance for whatever thing they got going on. So they are very contradictory though, right? They're very contradictory because in their effort to Blackify Kamala Harris, right? They got Quavo from the rap group Migos speaking at this event, right? Now, this is just for fair use. It just was broadcasted by PBS. But I just want you to hear this dummy, this contradictory dummy.
You know me, I go by the name of Quavo. Born and raised in the north side of Atlanta, home of the Migos. So one thing I learned about working with Vice President Harris is she always stand on business. From inviting me, what's up, mama? From inviting me to the White House last year to discuss these solutions to passing the biggest gun safety laws today.
So he's talking about gun safety laws. Now, if you listen to Quavo's music, this man is talking about, high military type weapons being used on the streets, right? I mean, you can, and this music industry consequently is run by non-Black people. They leverage poverty line Black people to narrate the story and culture of Black people, right? And then obviously the world looks at all Black people as if we are those people, right? That they have narrated and propped to represent us. Quavo talking about working with Kamala Harris on gun violence and gun control, and you actually sing about it. A lot of your songs are talking about gun violence in various little colorful ways. It's just such a contradiction. And this is how dumb they believe Black people are. We're going to get this Migos guy on here. And I'm like, who is even checking for the Migos anymore? They're not even together anymore. And last I checked, Chris Brown ethered the hell out of Quavo, right? A singing dude ethered a rapping dude, right? So I don't understand I understand what they're doing, right? They have to give Kamala Harris her black people credit. They got to give her black people credit. And also, they have to sell her as this fierce, independent woman, right? And that's where the Megan Thee Stallion comes in, where your sexual revolution, freedom type of chicks. This is who Kamala Harris is being sold to, right? Because obviously, Democrats love abortion. Democrats love abortion, right? And they love promoting behaviors and normalizing behaviors that leads to abortions. Beet juice with ginger. But off of that, I think that it is important for people to realize the sort of psyop that is happening during this election cycle, because there's multiple things can happen at one time, right? You can affirm stereotypes about black people, black women, right, by their choices, right? Democrats are the party of inclusion, so they didn't necessarily need Megan Thee Stallion, right? Katy Perry just came out with an empowering woman song. They could have used a soul singer if you were just going to placate to black people, a soul singer, woman with grace that could move the crowd but still present the grace and the essence of a black woman would have been used. So I know she can't get Beyonce because right now Beyonce is a conflict of interest, right? She's selling a whole country album, right? She needs them white Americans. Beyonce is not about to mess up her Cowboy Carter project by pissing off the white Americans and even having anything to do with Kamala Harris in politics right now. So Beyonce would have been a better option than Megan Thee Stallion, but I'm pretty sure they cannot get Beyonce to really commit to doing political endorsements during an album rollout. So that's understandable. But there's so many other graceful female artists that they could have propped up. And I ain't even gonna say Katy Perry because she's on some weird feminist stuff too. But it's like there's so many other artists, and I'm not trying to shade Meg's back because Megan Thee Stallion, this is no shade on Megan Thee Stallion either, because Megan Thee Stallion has her brand. She is a twerking harlot, right? She's a bopping, this is her brand, right? So, I don't fault Megan Thee Stallion for getting the coins to go out and do this because they did probably pay her. She definitely didn't do that voluntarily, right? But I don't blame her for getting them nuggets, right? Because obviously, that's what, people like Megan Thee Stallion who are propped up to represent hypersexualized women, that's what they're after anyways. They want the coins, right? They don't care about the black narrative. They don't care about representing black women. That's really not what they are there for. They are there to represent themselves and whatever hypersexual industry ideal black women that they are asked to promote. And these women, a lot of them, it's like you see them, they come out, they're not as hypersexualized and vixen as the industry makes them once they get a hold to them. So I stand on my last video that, obviously holds for Kamala is trending for a reason because she basically chose somebody who personifies hypersexualized women to perform at this event. And again, you look at the crowd during Megan's performance, some people who actually knew who she was and knew those songs, they were gigging to them. Other people who really didn't listen to that music and who were there for the political experience. It was just kind of a miss for a lot of them because a lot of people, even black people, do not relate to the projection of black culture that the Democratic liberal media constantly wants to project about us. So, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see how all of this play out as they try to blackify Kamala Harris for those black votes. But I mean, this thing is just ridiculous to me. I'm like, Quavo talking about gun control and gun violence. It's like, bruh, you made your coins. You made your coins talking about, you know, the usual suspect, stereotypical, violent black man stuff. These people are weird. All of you guys are weird, right? Let's stop like just attributing it to one side. All of them are weird. All of them are weird. The bases of their people are weird. The faces of their people are weird. They just are. They just are, and it's always perplexing to me to kind of just evaluate the think tanks on this earth and how much they lie and manipulate. Like, I was catching, was Josh Shapiro speaking at the Kamala Harris rally, and he's talking about how Trump is always talking crap about America, which I think that it's valid for anybody to call out the obvious things gone wrong and continuously going wrong in this country, right? But he's talking about America is the greatest nation on earth. And I'm like, what really makes a nation great? Like, let's just kind of think about what makes a nation great. Great culture. We had that. Yeah, I can honestly say I grew up in the 90s. We had a good cultural, understanding. I didn't see the racism and the perpetuated racism like we see today, courtesy of the Democratic Party and their rhino Republicans, right? A strong military. Well, no doubt, America does have one of the strongest militaries on earth. I think if you kind of break down military capabilities, you will find that there are other nations, especially nuclear powers like Russia, who are stronger than America. Financial stability, $35 trillion in debt is not great, right? Long-term financial stability means that generations after generations are not going to have to be enslaved by the debt that previous generations have acquired through unchecked spending and fiscal irresponsibility. And so America has been fiscally irresponsible since 1992 at least, right? We have added at least $31 trillion, no matter what party side or administration, $31 trillion to the debt. Obama actually added the most of all of the presidents since Clinton. This is just to say equal opportunity behind government jobs, right? The creation and innovation for all people without all these little gatekeepers and thieves trying to steal innovation and claim it as their own and be the face of everybody's ideas. Innovation. That America is full of users and thieves. So I don't perceive America to be a great nation at this point in time. America used to be a great nation. When you look at the humble museums, I love the beginnings. I like going into the Henry Ford Museum and just seeing how this nation has evolved. And I'm sorry, America is not a great nation. We're not even close to being a great nation like we were. And that's just 100. It's just disgusting. Everything has been sold out. And I think that's the biggest thing that these white supremacists have to come to terms with is your ancestors, the previous generation since 1900, probably before that, 1800. So mid 1800s, they were selling out America and didn't know. They were selling out America and didn't know. And all of that selling out had trickle-down effects to the next generations and what they were capable and empowered to do. So within the last, I would say, 4 or 5 decades, America has been continuously sold out to different foreign lands in different colorful ways. And it has continuously disenfranchised how future generations can actually exist and be economically empowered. So we're at this point where we're at $35 trillion in debt. And I know that a lot of people don't understand how money works. They don't know how economies work. They don't understand how currencies work. But let me tell you, that information is valuable because when you do understand how all of those things work, you'd understand that America needs to stop spending money, and really hamper down like everybody else in this economy has to do, because we're being impacted by these behaviors. And nobody is talking about that. You don't hear Kamala Harris talking about that. She was actually asked a straightforward, both of them. I caught conversations of Kamala Harris and Trump. Both of them were asked economic questions, right? One reporter asked Kamala Harris about inflation, and she went on to talk about what inflation was and how it impacted Americans and how it's a concern. But she never talked about what were the factors that caused the inflation. She never talked about how they're going to mitigate those factors. She didn't go into that because she can't. That's not what's scripted for her to be able to say. Same thing with Trump. This older gentleman, very emotional, asked Trump, he's worried about the future of his grandkids. And he wants to know if they're going to be able to have the same type of future and possibilities and economic empowerment as he did. And Trump did not answer the question. Trump went dance all the way around talking about crime, right? And that was a clear economic question. So these people are showboating and dancing around realities always because they know that they are going to contribute more and more to the debt and the money laundering of American taxpayers' money to other places and other means to empower a very specific segment of the country and abroad. So that's my take on all of this. I'm going to continue to give my objective, non-committed take on these things, and people make their own decisions, right? I mean, if you are planning on participating in a political process, my whole thing is just go in there with as much education as possible and make the call, not based off of somebody being a woman or some color scheme, and not even based on some of the radical propagandized stuff around Trump, because that whole assassination thing is still a little weird for me. I don't really believe everything that they have delivered about that, and I do have some speculations about that, but I'm just going to kind of keep them to myself at this point until I see more information come out. But it is sus, and I don't necessarily know if I want to all the way give that to the Democrats. Yeah. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful day. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like content like this, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.